Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith?
A letter for you, sir.
Dear Adam Smith, is your book in the press or shall we have it soon?
There's a book that captured the attention of academia before it was even published. The first book by Adam Smith caused an immediate sensation upon publication. The last book he revised again and again, even as his life drew to a close. The book engraved above "The Wealth of Nations" upon his tombstone. This is The Theory of Moral Sentiments. Morality, not a word one readily associates with Adam Smith, the father of economics. But the question to which he devoted his entire life was not money. It was morality. To understand Adam Smith as a moral philosopher, one must first understand this place, the city of Glasgow in the 18th century. The harbor was crowded with ships.
Keep it steady there.
Tobacco and cotton from across the Atlantic, sugar from the Caribbean. The docks were full. There was a decisive turning point behind Glasgow's rise as one of the fastest growing cities in Britain during this period. In 1707, Scotland and England were united. The union opened the vast colonial markets of the British Empire to Scotland. Glasgow, positioned far more favorably than London on the route to North America, drew in English capital. And so, Glasgow rapidly established itself as the center of Atlantic trade. The change did not stop at the harbor. When the Union shifted political power to London, Scotland's elites turned away from the struggle for power and towards scholarship. At the center of it all stood the University of Glasgow. In 1737, a 14-year-old Adam Smith was among them. Entering the University of Glasgow, Adam Smith looked out at the city's flourishing prosperity and began to carry a question within him.
Fresh fish! Fresh fish! Caught this very morn!
How could a commercial society, made up of individuals each pursuing their own interests, maintain order without descending into chaos?
Adam Smith was drawn less to the logic of economics than to the human nature behind it. It was moral philosophy at the University of Glasgow that helped him find a path to that question.
What foul stench is this?
This is no fresh fish!
At the time, moral philosophy was not simply an education in how to live virtuously. It was something closer to an inquiry into human nature, exploring why people behave the way they do. With a deep interest in human nature, Adam Smith was naturally drawn to moral philosophy. It is here that a crucial figure enters the story. Francis Hutcheson, professor of moral philosophy at the University of Glasgow. The teacher Adam Smith would call the most admired of his life.
Just as humans possess sight and hearing, so too do they possess a moral sense, an instinct that distinguish good from evil.
In Smith's day, most people believed it was reason that determined right from wrong. Reason, they held, was the very backbone of morality. But Hutcheson saw it differently. Morality, he argued, belonged not to reason, but to feeling, to the realm of the senses. Adam Smith found himself in deep agreement, but Smith's curiosity did not stop there.
Could mortal sentence not be explained through logic?
The inspiration came from someone entirely unexpected. Not a philosopher, not an ethicist, but a scientist. Isaac Newton. Newton had proved that the fall of an apple and the orbit of a planet could both be explained by a single principle: gravity. Studying mathematics and natural philosophy at the University of Glasgow, a thought struck the young Smith. Just as the universe can be explained through the single principle of gravity, so too might moral sentiments be explained through a single principle. The search for a single principle of morality continued. Even after he became professor of moral philosophy at the University of Glasgow in 1752. There, Smith set about constructing his own systematic account of morality. And at last, he found it. The principle that governs the moral world of human beings, just as gravity governs the universe. Smith called it sympathy. "15 years of inquiry and research, thousands of questions, tens of thousands of lines of notes. From all of it, he distilled one book. In 1759, the theory of moral sentiments finally came into the world.
I shall take a copy of the theory of moral sentiments.
I would have a copy.
Pray, give me a copy.
A copy of The Theory of Moral Sentiments.
The response was immediate.
It is already sold out.
The first edition sold out at major London bookshops within just a few weeks. From London to Paris to Berlin, the theory of moral sentiments set the intellectual world of Europe ablaze. 17 years after the first edition of the theory of moral sentiments. In 1776, Adam Smith's second work, The Wealth of Nations, came into the world. But this time, it caused confusion.
In the theory of moral sentiments, you said humans are beings of sympathy. Yet in The Wealth of Nations, you say humans are self-interested.
Are the two books not a contradiction?
This debate would endure for so long that scholars came to call it the Adam Smith problem. But Smith had already left his answer.
The self-interest I speak of in The Wealth of Nations is not unlimited greed. It is self-love, operating within the boundaries of mortality.
The invisible hand of the wealth of nations was never meant to justify unconditional market logic. Read through The Theory of Moral Sentiments, and it becomes clear that the invisible hand is a principle of a free market operating upon a moral order. In other words, the theory of moral sentiments was the very foundation upon which the wealth of nations was built. While the wealth of nations was shaking the intellectual world, Smith was quietly at work on something else.
I intend to leave the works I have already published in the best and most perfect state I can.
As death drew closer, the work became more urgent. He knew time was running out. In May 1790, the sixth and final edition of The Theory of Moral Sentiments was published. Over the 31 years since its first edition, it had been revised no fewer than 5 times. 2 months later, on the 17th of July, 1790, Adam Smith was passed away. That The Theory of Moral Sentiments was the first work engraved on his tombstone was no mere coincidence. The name Adam Smith most wanted to leave to the world was not economist, but moral philosopher. Who is the Adam Smith you think you know? A champion of laissez-faire? A defender of self-interest? If that is all you know of him, you have misunderstood Adam Smith. Now, it is time to meet the real Adam Smith through the theory of moral sentiments.